Hello and welcome to AHS Countdown. I'm your host, Max Mesman. I'm joined by co-hosts Cal Floyd, Fabiola Sanchez, and Taylor Gottney. And it all comes down to this. We have the 2022 AHSAA 7A State Championship between the Thompson Warriors and your Auburn Tigers. And the stakes could not be higher as the winner is going to be crowned the 2022 AHSAA 7A State Champions. The last and only time these two teams have ever played was 2 years ago in the 2020 AHSAA 7A State Championship, and Thompson won by a score of 29-28. That being said, let's start off with the Warriors. They finished the regular season with an overall record of 7-3 and finished second in Region 3 with an in-region record of 6-1. They also won their first-round matchup against Huntsville by a score of 34-0, as well as their second-round matchup against Vestavia Hills by a score of 21-12, and then clinched their spot in the state championship about a week and a half ago by beating Hoover on the road by a score of 40-10. All of that being said, what are some things that this Warrior team can do that could spell trouble for the Tigers tonight?
So Thompson's defense has pretty much been a powerhouse this whole year. In 11 out of the 13 games this season, they haven't allowed the other team to score more than 14 points. The only two exceptions to this being when they went against the top teams from both Georgia and Tennessee early on in the year. So I think that's definitely formidable.
For their offense, it's been very on and off this season, averaging about 28 points per game, but scoring 21 points or less in 6 of the 13 games, including being shut out against in the second to the last week of the regular season.
Something about Thompson that we have to look out for. They've won the last 3 state championships. They're just on a roll. One of the most feared opponents in Alabama, and like what Cal said, started off 0-2 against those 2 ranked nationally teams. Then had that tough loss against Hoover, but they're on a roll right now, scoring bunches of points in the playoffs. So I think Auburn will have to watch out.
Yeah, and looking to win their first ever state championship is your Auburn Tigers, who finished the regular season with an overall record of 9-1 and finished second in Region 2 with an in-region record of 7-1. And they won their first round matchup in the playoffs by a score of 35-17 over Fairhope, as well as the second round a couple weeks ago against Dothan by a score of 48-20, and then clinched their third ever state championship appearance with a 14-13 nail-biter win on the road against Central a week and a half ago. In what has been a great season for the Tigers, what are some things that they are able to do that Thompson should take note of?
So Auburn has had an absolutely great defense all season, especially with last week in Central. They did not allow the Red Devils to score past 13 points, which is actually the least amount of points that Central has scored in the game all season.
Yeah, and just like Cal said, but with their offense last week, it just wasn't how it usually is. They only scored 14 points, the lowest points that they've scored this whole season as well, so that's something we need to improve on.
Looking at Auburn's recent history, they've lost both of their 2 ever state championship appearances, one against Hoover in 2013, 20-3, and of course the loss in 2020 that you mentioned earlier by a score of 29-28, heartbreaking loss. So I think Auburn really needs to rewrite the script here and win this game.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning of the show, it is the state championship game, meaning that the stakes are as high as can be as the winner becomes the 2022 AHSAA 7A state champions, like I said at the beginning of the show. So, we have talked about some things that Auburn has done well this season. Now, what are some things that the Tigers need to improve in order to win this game and keep their state championship hopes alive?
So once again, one of Auburn's biggest weaknesses is preventing those really big plays. In their last game against Central, they lost multiple 40-yard plays against Central, even with a 70-yard interception in the first quarter.
With Auburn, they had multiple quick 3-and-outs on offense against Central and against a Thompson defense. Which is one of the best in the whole state. This trend could continue,
Back in 2020, Auburn lost due to poor coaching, and now Auburn has a different head coach in Keith Etheridge, who's an amazing coach and just really knows how to lead our team to victory every single game. And he'll need to call a perfect game in order for Auburn to beat the Thompson Warriors.
And with that, we move into our keys to the game. Now, Auburn has different X factors that can help them take over a game. What do you think those X factors are or will be in this game?
So Auburn this whole season had a great ability of getting to the enemy quarterback and getting a bunch of sacks. And I think that's going to come in very handy against Thompson's quarterback, Trent Seaborn, who, despite being one of the best quarterbacks in the state, I believe is in 8th grade. So it's going to be quite interesting to see that play out on the field.
Yeah, and for Auburn's offense line, we will need to be exceptional and against a strong team and also fast because Thompson's defense line is really fast and
Auburn's ability to make field goals will definitely come in if we have a really close game. And just the special teams needs to be perfect this game. And my player profiles, Will Best and Thomas Magoo from past weeks, will really need to show up.
And now we move into, like Taylor said there, we move into our player profiles where we will each highlight one player on offense, defense, and one on special teams. That will be crucial tonight for the Tigers. Who do y'all have as y'all's player profiles for tonight's matchup against Thompson?
So for me, I have number 14, Cade Rayburn. He's a senior on defensive end, and this whole season he's been able to put amazing pressure on the quarterback due to his speed, and I think that's going to come in really handy this game.
I have number 3, Logan Blomeyer. He's a senior wide receiver, and he's one of the fastest players on the Auburn team, and he's able to get past the secondary line quick.
My player profile is number 9, Ian Nation. He's a kick returner. He has immense speed as well as good hands that allow him to be a dangerous return man, as well as Auburn's most reliable receiver on offense.
And with that, we are now going to send you to a quick commercial break, but don't go away because next up is the Friday night lineup. Don't go away.
Here's to the straggly ones, the lopsided ones, the first ones, the I miss my beard ones. But hey, I look good with this ones. But no way he's grown that in a week ones. The black, brown, red, and gray ones. That one. The itchy ones. The never forgotten ones. The ones grown by Dad. The ones grown for Dad. The started late ones. The absolutely filthy ones. The drawn on ones. The finger ones. The pin ones. The I nearly didn't do it this year ones. And the yeah, why not ones. They all raise awareness, raise funds, start conversations, and save lives. Because whatever you grow will save a bro. Learn more at Movember.com.
I will be right by your side. If I can't find the cure, I'll fix you with my love. No matter what, you know I'll fix you with my love. And if you say you're okay, I'm gonna heal you anyway. Promise I'll always be there. Promise I'll be.
Yes, women can have it all, including heart attacks. Know the signs. Heart disease is the #1 killer of women. Get heart checked.
Meet Norm. He lives with anxiety, but with the help of this latest innovation from Be Normal, he can be normal, just like everyone else. With the swipe of a finger, you can project happiness, confidence, machismo. Why settle for being real when you can be normal? The Normal Maker, new from Be Normal. This item doesn't really work because there's no such thing as normal. We're all different. What we like, how our brains work. In fact, 1 in 5 of us live with mental illness. Don't filter who you are. Start by talking to someone you trust. And remember, there is no normal.
Welcome back to AHS Countdown, and please help me in welcoming this week's guest picker. Our last guest picker, Evelyn Cherry, went 6-4 on the picks, so the spot for the first guest picker to go perfect is still up for grabs, and this is the last football AHS Countdown of the year. So if this guest picker doesn't get it, nobody will, at least for this year. But let's go ahead and introduce this guest picker. He was the president of HiDef Club last year, as well as the host of AHS Countdown last year, and is also the host of his own podcast called The Patrick Party. Oh, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Patrick Bingham.
What's up, everyone? Hello. Hi, Mom. Auburn family. Let's ride.
Now, Patrick, as someone who has been involved in sports broadcasting and entertainment, as part of that world, at that field, for multiple years now, what would you say is your favorite part of being in that world and why?
Ooh, I don't know if what I do is entertaining for people. I think it's funny. Favorite part, I would say I definitely enjoyed being here for, 3 years. Got to do a lot of really cool things. So yeah, I would probably say that. The people would probably be my #1 thing. You meet a lot of people, you spend a lot of time with them, so I would say that.
And with that, we move into our last segment, which is the Friday night lineup, and it's Champ Week, meaning all divisions 1A through 7A will play their championship games this week, and we will pick all of them and who we think will be crowned champions of all the divisions 1A through 7A. The current standings, and of course this is the last week, so If you don't, get first after this week, then these will remain the standings. Fab currently in first place once again, 55-9, 7-3 last week on the picks. Second place is myself, and I'm currently 47-17. I went 5-5 last week on the picks. And then third is Cal, who is 43-21 on the season in picks. He was 6-4 last week on the picks. And then fourth and last place is Taylor, who's 41-23 and 6-4 last week on the picks. So we'll go ahead and get started with our first matchup in 1A, and it is between Pickens County, who is 11-3 on the season, and they're playing against number 6 Leroy, who is 12-1 on the season. Who do y'all got between Pickens County and Leroy?
Obviously, this is a bit hard. No one gets home field advantage in these games.
Mm-hmm.
They're all on neutral ground. But still, for this one, based on just record and overall ranking, I have to go with Leroy.
Have you ever heard of either of these schools?
No.
That was probably not nice. Okay. Pickens starts with a P, which is what Patrick starts with. But I'm going to go with Leroy. It's just more fun to say.
I agree. The record, so Leroy.
I think the state ranking, Leroy got it.
Yeah, Pickens County is kind of a Cinderella story, at least out of all these state championship games. They're the only team out of all divisions that isn't ranked in their state rankings. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go with Leroy. I think their Cinderella run ends here. And I think Leroy will be crowned the 1A state champions. Now we move to 2A, which is a battle between number 6 BB Comer, who is 12-2 on the season, and they're going against number 1 Fife, a powerhouse. They're 14-0 on the season. Who do y'all got between BB Comer and Fife?
Fife, undefeated, number 1. I just have faith in them.
Fife, I believe, is a powerhouse. Don't quote me on that, but I'll pick Fife. Now, my grandmother, I call her, everyone has names for their grandmother. Mine for her is BB, so it kind of works for this one, but I'll pick Fife.
5. They're undefeated. I can't say, 5, so.
Just to be different, I'll go with BB Comer, just to be different.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I want to pick BB Comer for this one because it'd be cool to, see the underdog win and also beat the upset team. But then also, it would be cool to see the undefeated team finish undefeated. And so I think Fife is going to win this one. I think they'll finish 15-0 and hoist the 2A state championship trophy. And now we move into 3A. In 3A, we have a battle between number 7 St. James, who is 12-2 on the season, and they're playing against number 3 Piedmont, who's also 12-2 on the season, same record. So who do y'all got between St. James and Piedmont?
I think for this one, they do have the same record, but I think the 4-place difference in ranking should show you that I think Piedmont has this.
Yeah, I have a friend that went to St. James, but I'm going to pick Piedmont as well. Starts with a P. Patrick.
I'm going to go with St. James for this one. Hopefully they do good.
I think these are two evenly matched teams in their region. I'm just going to go St. James.
Yeah, this one really is a toss-up, like Taylor said. I mean, both 12-2 and very closely ranked together. Piedmont, though, if you see their logo is the same as Purdue. And you'll see most high schools, they'll change the color, at least to not make it the exact same. But no, theirs is just yellow Purdue. So I'm not a fan of that, me personally. So I'm going to have to go with St. James for this one. Get your own logo. And so now we'll move into 4A, which is a battle between number 10 Cherokee County, who is also 12-2 on the season, and they're going against number 5 Andalusia, who is 13-1 on the season. Who do y'all got between Cherokee County and Andalusia?
Personally, I think Andalusia. 1, because it's just fun to say, and 2, I just personally.
I'm going to go with Andalusia. I sit next to this guy at my church that's older, and he was talking on his Facebook account about he was going to go and support Andalusia because apparently he went there. That's a terrible reason to pick somebody, but I'll pick Andalusia.
I have a few friends who go to Andalusia, so.
Really?
Yeah, so. I'm
going to have to disagree with y'all. I have a cousin that goes to Cherokee County.
Oh, okay.
So I just got to.
Okay.
Me personally, I don't have any family members that go to either of these teams, so I'm going to have to pick I'm going to pick Andalusia, who is like Piedmont. They're a discount Arizona for their logo, but they did change the color just a little bit, and they put their name in the bottom right corner. So it's not exactly copyright, but I'm gonna go with Andalusia on this one. Like Cal said, it's fun to say, and yeah, most signs are pointing their way. Andalusia. And now we move into 5A, which will be number 10 Charles Henderson, who's 12-1 the season and just upset the powerhouse UMS Wright last week. And they're going away, or not going away, they're going to be playing in the same stadium. They're going against number 4 Ramsey, who we saw earlier in the season during homecoming, who is 12-2 on the season. Who do y'all got between Charles Henderson and Ramsey?
I think definitely Rams for this one. One, because I've just seen more of them, and I know from firsthand experience that they are a very competent team.
So Auburn High's director of football operations is Billy Ramsey, and he actually, great guy. He was the golf coach when I played golf, but he gave me these pants. They're the Air Jordan ones last season, so I'm going to go with Ramsey for that reason.
I'm going to agree with Cal. I mean, we've seen them play, and I just think they've got this, so Ramsey.
Yeah, I was telling Max earlier, Ramsey's undefeated in the region, only 2 losses, 6A team, and then Auburn, so I think Ramsey's got this.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with the room here. I think Ramsey's got this one. For the main reason Taylor said, their only 2 losses are to a 6A team and a 7A team, 2 teams that they shouldn't have beaten and they didn't beat. But, the Auburn game, they did score first, and they only lost by 21, which I know that seems like a big number. But Auburn came back the next week after playing them and beat Opelika by 22. So Ramsey was actually not in a back and forth matchup per se, but they weren't necessarily blown out against Auburn as a 5A team usually would be. And so yeah, Ramsey all the way. I think they won this one by at least double digits. And now we go to 6A, the game before ours, not in time-wise, but, in the pick order. And it is between number 7 Mountain Brook, who's 12-2 on the season, and they're going against number 4 Saraland, who's 13-1 on the season, and got a big upset over the number 1 team in 6A, Theodore. And so who do y'all got between Mountain Brook and Saraland?
So don't quote me on this, but if I remember, last countdown, I picked Saraland for one of the teams, and they ended up winning, obviously, because they're here. Mm-hmm. So for that reason, I'm going to stick with them and pick Saraland.
Yeah, I got to stick with your guns. Saraland is a good team. They blew out, I want to say Homewood or somebody in the earlier rounds. They're a really good team. I'll pick Saraland to take home the title.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Saraland as well.
I'm going to have to disagree with y'all again, just to be different.
There you go.
I think Saraland, coming off that big win, like Max said, is going to be kind of in their head and kind of overlook their opponent a little bit. So I think Mountain Brook's going to come out hot and stay hot. I think they're going to win.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very close game. It seems like Saraland, after winning that game, having the better record, having the better ranking, and all that stuff, being the momentum, you think that Saraland's going to pull away in this one. But I just have a feeling, like Taylor said, I have a feeling Mountain Brook's going to win this one. Mountain Brook usually is always consistently a good team every year, and I think they're going to continue that consistency with a state championship this year. I think they'll go into Jordan-Hare and upset Saraland and win this one for the 6A title. And now we move into your game of the night, the last game of the season for both of these teams, for all these teams that we picked. And this game is between your number 4 Auburn Tigers, who are 12-1 on the season. They're going against the number 3 Thompson Warriors, winners of the last 3 state championships, and they're 10-3 on the season. Who do y'all got between Auburn and Thompson?
So someone who has no concept of 7A football would look at this and be like, oh, it's Auburn, the record and whatever else. But obviously, as we know, Thompson has played some really, really tough teams this year. But I think Auburn, with the energy they've been able to put forth this season, and especially coming off that revenge to Central, I think they're going to have super high spirits and they're going to win this game.
I agree. It's going to be a challenging game, but it's going to be good, and I'm going to go with Auburn.
I think the whole city of Auburn is going to show up for this game. Just everyone in the city is going to show up. Thompson has always been a powerhouse. They've always been one of those scary teams. And that 2020 state championship, I think Auburn's going to come back and get revenge and win the 7A title.
Yeah, it really does come all down to this, and it feels like a perfect storm. Like we talked about earlier, this is Auburn's only 3rd ever time making the state championship. Both of the last 2 times they lost, but also both of the last 2 times they were in Auburn University Tigers, their rival in Tuscaloosa. And this one, it's in Jordan-Hare in Auburn. So, yes, I think everybody's going to turn out like Taylor said. And then also we had that heartbreaking loss that really nobody talks about anymore because of how heartbreaking it was against Thompson in 2020. And I remember correctly, almost the entire high school showed up for that one because, it was a big deal, only 2nd ever time. And I think this one's going to be even more packed, and I think it's going to be Auburn win, and I feel like Auburn, I have a feeling that this one might get away from Thompson, and I feel like Auburn's going to win this one, maybe by a good bit. Give me Auburn by at least 10 points. I'm going Auburn Tigers. Great season, finished 13-1, and the 7A state champs.
Well. So a couple of years ago, I was in Tuscaloosa for a football event between Auburn and Thompson. And I had just started running the football team's Twitter account, and I had made this really cool state championship logo. And I not only had the logo made, I had the tweet ready, and all I had to do was hit the button that says tweet, and then I didn't. It would have been hilarious if I did, actually. But, that game ended up on SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt and all the other things. And then, of course, the coaching change. It kind of feels like since that moment, everything's been building to this moment. Now you have it in Auburn. Ron Anders said the first year the Super 7 came to Auburn, it was in 2010. And they've dreamed of having Auburn getting to play at home. The baby Tigers playing where the Auburn University Tigers play. And I think it's going to be an incredible day with the flag football team playing earlier, and then, of course, the men's football team playing at night. I think it's going to be a huge turnout. I'll be there. I have a number of friends that are going to be there that have already graduated. So I'm super duper excited. A couple people I want to shout out because I have the floor. Reggie Smith, he is the linebackers coach and special teams coach for Auburn High School. He let me start running the social media account. Started helping. Coach Etheridge was always great when I worked with him. All of them really. They've all been really nice. So with that, they gave me this tiger head to put on. But I hate copying people, so I'm gonna put it on Cal and take a little selfie for all my friends to show them that I came back. So you know what? I think Auburn's gonna win. Clyde Pittman's had a great senior season, right? And the defense, Scott Goolsby's defense has always been really good all year long. So I'm gonna pick Sanford the Tiger and Auburn to win the program's first state championship ever in football. So I think that'd be a huge deal. So I'll pick Auburn, go Tigers, and Max back to you.
And that'll do it for AHS Countdown, but don't go anywhere because coming up in a few minutes will be the kickoff of the 2022 AHSAA 7A State Championship brought to you by Mass Media. But for myself, as well as the rest of the crew here at AHS Countdown, as well as a big thanks to our special guest picker, Patrick Bingham, we hope you enjoy the game, and we hope to see you tomorrow when Auburn basketball takes on Brew Tech in what will be the first AHS Countdown of the basketball season.